Hello and welcome to today's video as we go over the rookie mid laners from 2024. You'll see the board doesn't have as many players on it. There weren't as many rookies in the mid lane as jungle and top lane. And frankly, I think bot lane may have more as well. Here we have who they are based on players that did not play at least half of a split in a major region. That's my threshold for rookie status. So if a player did do that and maybe split time with somebody and played just enough games, Quad is an example for FlyQuest. I think he actually may have played a full split for DRX, but regardless, he wasn't a rookie because he'd played a full split, or at least more than half. Interesting stuff. All of these players, negative win rates. Frescowi did go to World, so he's probably closer to 50-50 overall. I mean, 45% is what it is, but nobody actually won more games in Tier 1 plus internationals than lost in mid lane for rookies. So we have Frescowi of Mad Lions, Fisher of Nongshim Red Force. However, he did play with EDG in the LPL during spring. Kiahu of DRX, Jackies of Giants X, Calmy of Nongshim Red Force as well, Satab of DRX as well, Zero of Team Heretics, Mask of Immortals, and Vladi of Carmine Corp. Ages, Frescowi and Zero, 24 and 25 years old. Much older players. Now, age isn't the only thing. We also have experience. Frescowi had 290 games of experience outside of Tier 1 before playing this year with Mad Lions Koi. Zero for Heretics had 299 games, 18 of which occurred in the TCL. Back when TCL was still a World's qualifying region. Yes, he actually has played in a World's qualifying region before this year. Other notables with experience. Satab, 228 at only 19 years old, which is interesting, right? So, shoot, he has probably one less year's worth of experience than Frescowi or Zero, but yet, shoot, he's 5 years younger. Just turned 20 very recently. Kiahu, 19. Vladi, 19. A couple 20-year-olds in there. Mask, 23, finally getting an opportunity after being an import into Immortals. 225 games of experience. The least experience, Kiahu, 51. 9 games of LCK experience before this year. So keep that in mind as well. A lot of people want to condemn that player. He does not have a ton of experience, and frankly, DRX is a disaster. Games played, most to least, Frescowi had 85. Vladi had 21. There were a couple other players with less than 10. Kalix for Nongshim Red Force. Polbey playing for Breon. XZZ for RNG. And I think there might be one other player. KDA, Zero and Vladi, very good, 2.7. Spring and summer for the case of... Vladi played only in summer. Zero played in spring and summer, but very good KDAs. 2.7, Frescowi 2.3. So the LEC players, pretty good KDAs. Otherwise, everyone else is... I mean, Jackie's was 2 actually as well, and then everyone else less than 2. Kill participation. Involved players, Calmy of Nongshim, Vladi of KC, over 72%. Jackie, 72% as well almost. Lower end, though, Frescowi, 56% KP. Very low involvement in his team's play. We saw going into Worlds like below 50-50 KP, which is insane for a mid laner. I don't think I've ever seen such low kill participation from a mid laner that has such low resources. Normally, I mean, I've seen Chovy, I think, with crazy KP that's like really low in the high 50s, but his CS is like 10 because he's in a side lane farming and playing his own, PvE mission, but yet Frescowi, 8.9 CS per minute. Mask, 9.8, very heavy resource for Immortals. It was him or die for Immortals, essentially. But most people around 8.9 to 9.3. Return on investment, Satab led the way, 1.77. Very aggressive, the most aggressive player on the board. Mask, 1.67. Fisher, 1.61. Lower end of things, Frescowi, 1.32. Makes sense given his lack of participation. Vision efficiency, Mask, very efficient with vision. You have to wonder if all of his experience played a role in that, 3.7. Vision score per ward. Laning-wise, everybody on the board was behind in gold at 15 minutes. And what I thought was interesting between the LEC mids was how Frescali actually had the best gold difference at 15, only behind 58, where Jackie's averaged a 272 gold deficit. 186, and Vladdy 151. I would not have pegged Frescali for going essentially even at 15 minutes on average, especially when you include international experience and a lot of playoff games and season finals. So, I definitely don't hesitate to criticize him, but he was the only one that at least was relatively close to 50-50. I mean, nobody was getting blown out. I mean, Jackie's 272 is, pretty lopsided. He got better as the season went along. Saytab over 300 behind on average. XP difference, Frescali actually slightly ahead. Call Me as well. Mask 243 ahead on average, really getting ahead in XP on Immortals. But Saytab 220 behind, Kiahu 230 behind. So DRX struggling, not a big shock. Solo kills per game. Frescali led the way, over 1 every 4 games, which high rate because the next highest was Jackie's 1 in every 5. Vladdy actually had 0 in 21 games for Carmine Corp. But then again, win rate over here, you see everyone's in red because nobody actually had a better than 50-50 win rate. So it comes down to this. I mean, Jackie's is probably the best player on the board. I think that is quite possible. I think rookie bias is occurring for some when they compare him to other mid laners in the LEC. Giants X did him no favors, don't get me wrong, and I do wonder how he would do and how he might do with what the proposed rumored roster is going to be in 2025. But I also take things at face value. He was behind at 15 minutes quite a bit. Frescali was not. They played similar schedules. Actually, Frescali played a tougher schedule. Vladdy. I would like to see how Jackie's maybe did in summer relative to Vladdy to compare the two. Vladdy may have actually had a better run than Jackie's in summer in terms of diffies at 15 minutes at the very least. But Jackie's definitely had his outplays. Don't get me wrong. The player is good. The kid is good. He's going to be fine. Vladdy's going to be fine. But a lot of people comparing them to the likes of Humanoid and Larson and Nitsky and others that have been longtime players that we've seen play in multiple metas, and then comparing them to guys they've seen for maybe 1, maybe 2 years because they watched them in ERLs last year and they think that tier 2 games are equivalent to tier 1 games. Like, I understand people get hyped up about shit, but then they it's when you get kind of called out on the hype bullshit and people don't back out, as in and acknowledge that it's hype and not not all tiers are created equally, right? So EUM at the time, or EMEA Masters, is not equivalent to LEC play. We saw what KC looked like at the beginning of the year with their roster that was essentially KC players plus LEC players plus Bo. An upset. Was upset with them in spring. I'm trying to remember. Obviously Saken and Cabo Shard were in there, but regardless, Call Me I think he's going into ERLs this year, so he's kind of been kicked to the curb. I do wonder what DRX are doing. Zero, that was probably his only shot at 25 years old. I doubt he gets another. Frez has been replaced by Matt already, so is he going to keep a spot? He could be the next Niski, I guess, in theory. Fisher taking a lot of heat probably because he played for EDG in the LPL as a rookie, but what do you really expect from a guy that had barely any experience in CK? He only has 83 games of experience at this point below tier 1, so people are foolish in a way. So that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, like it, subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.